The USC Trojans just about halfway through spring practice, 3 weeks down, just about 3 weeks until the spring game on April 16th. We bring in Nick Dempsey from Conquest Chronicles to help us sort out the quarterback situation and some other news on the Trojan front. Hey, Nick, how are you?
Pretty good. About yourself?
Doing pretty well. Need some clarification on USC's quarterback situation, because for most teams, you lose a veteran quarterback in USC's circumstance. It's Cody Kessler, and teams are usually needing the entire spring to find out who's leading the race, and they typically don't even make a call then and need all of August or about halfway through August camp to make a decision. But in USC's case, not necessarily the case.
Yeah, Clay Helton has said he wants this thing wrapped up by the end of spring. And it sounds like, by all indications, Max Browne is in the clear lead for this position. He's actually even come out and said it. Max Browne has it. In his mind, he's the leader for the unit, and it seems like he hasn't come out. Helton has not come out and said it explicitly, but it seems like, by all indications, Max Browne will be the starting quarterback for USC in 2016. Now, that still leaves a few more weeks for someone else to maybe make something happen, but it looks like we're going with Browne.
Yeah, so Max Browne, the last time I remember hearing anything about Max Browne, and I was going to look it up just to make sure. Now, here's another guy who burst onto the scene to a certain extent, was in the quarterback race at a certain point in his career early on. And now he's getting a shot here as a junior. So he threw 12 passes last year, completed 8, a lot of mop-up duty. So pretty inexperienced quarterback's going to line up against Alabama in week 1.
Yeah, that's a heck of a first outing for the young kid. But he sat behind Kessler for a while. He's been through 3 or 4 springs now at USC, so he knows how to prepare. He knows how to win and do the things he needs to do. But as far as actually doing it when the Alabama defense is running down your throat, that we don't know. We don't have any good indication of what he's going to be able to do. And it's a heck of a steep learning curve first game out. And then 2 weeks later, they get the Stanford defense. So this kid's going to be tested in the early going, and we'll find out pretty quick just what he's made of.
I would guess that there's going to be a time that we can talk USC personnel and not bring in the issue of depth. That should be shed at some point if Clay Helton and staff do their job. But it's still lingering. It's still an issue in some areas of the team. Kenny Bigelow, unfortunately, going down at defensive line just isn't magnified by his loss in particular, but the effect along the D line.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate for him. He's now injured the same knee twice. We just found out on Saturday it is a torn ACL. He's going to be out, they said, 7 to 9 months, which I think optimistically puts him in October, maybe late October, coming back at the earliest. So that's unfortunate. And USC, they lost 5 guys on the D line, either to the draft or just graduation. So they're already trying to replace an entire unit. They don't have a lot of guys with starting reps on that team. They had Kenny Bigelow was the one guy on that team that had the most experience, and now he's out. So they have plenty of young, talented players, but nobody who's really played significant time in college football. And as you just mentioned, their first game out, they're going to have to try to stop the Alabama rushing attacks.
For Bigelow. I don't know if we disconnected there. I don't know who was disconnected, Nick. I didn't hear you, and you froze up on me, so I just started yapping my gums.
Oh, should I start over on Bigelow?
Sure. Give us something on Kenny Bigelow. We heard the beginning, and again, I don't know if it was you or me.
Okay. Well, like I said, Bigelow's out. Optimistically, they're hoping he'll be back by end of October. It's a problem for USC in particular because they have to replace 5 guys on the defensive line. They're losing 5 to the draft or graduation. They've got plenty of young talent along the line, but no one with any meaningful snaps. And like you just mentioned, all of these young, inexperienced underclassmen, first game out of the gate, they're going to have to try to stop the Alabama rushing attack. So it's going to be a huge challenge for them. They've got the talent, but can they win with it? That remains to be seen.
And Bigelow, a kid as just a sophomore in 2015 at D tackle, had 3 sacks and 3 tackles for loss in just 5 games for the Trojans. So he was making an impact at that point and was expected to, of course, this fall. All right, that seems to be the USC update at this point. Quarterback, Bigelow at D-line. Nick, thanks so much for joining us.
Of course, Mark, anytime.